subscribers. Tracy,
Hey,
hi girl, welcome back, Tracy. How are you?
good. How are you guys?
We're doing okay. I guess I'll be doing some screen sharing here, and it's great to have you. I remember when you flipped to being a bull in energy, and that was a great call. I just want to ask you: is there a chance, just a chance, that we're getting fully valued here, or do you think the guys are going to be right about $100 oil by year end?
I think that's going to really depend on a lot of things. I think, well, first of all, OPEC doesn't really have that much spare capacity, and they've already said that they're not going to change what they're doing, right? So they're not looking to add any more into the market. The U.S. market, everybody's focused on capital discipline, dividends to shareholders, paying down debts. So they're not really looking to produce more. So, I thought we would be a little bit more range bound, but that was before the energy crisis had happened in Europe. So, it is very possible that we could push over 90 this winter if, if it gets really cold, because we'll see that would push U.S. nat gas stocks into deficit, and then you'll see a lot of gas to oil switching. So it is very possible that this chart is very constructively bullish.
There's really look at this. This was the Twilight Zone episode,
right?
So people became scarred when we went negative, and not many people down here calling for this kind of move. But
we keep
turned positive here, Tracy. That was late last year. It was a great call.
And if you look, I mean, we keep working off bullish, like overbought conditions, right?
Yeah.
So it's still, it's still
the trend is up, and most surprises would be to the upside. Let me ask you this. I always feel like I could count on politicians to do the wrong thing at the wrong time. Do you think there'll be a release from the SPR? You think Biden will do that?
It's always a tricky thing, because with a SPR release, I mean, we already have releases set, right? So through 2023, 24 to pay for the repairs on the SPR. But the tricky thing about just releasing it for the sake of releasing it is that it has to be the type that oil companies need. So, just flooding the market is not necessarily the appropriate response.
Well, but it would have some like a 2-day effect or something,
right?
Right. I mean, it's not going to change the fundamentals. And let me ask you, because natural gas corrected a little bit, and now it looks like it wants to push to new highs. Is this whole energy crisis thing that's right now worse in Europe than here? It's something that we're going to have to live through. You think there'll be some kind of rationing, or prices are going to go up, and
I mean,
consumers...
I definitely think that we'll see higher nat gas prices, U.S. nat gas prices. That said, I don't think that we'll experience what Europe has experienced. I think it's going to be more regional, right? Okay. So it's going to be more expensive in the Northeast because they just stopped that pipeline. So I think you're going to see different, I think it's because the U.S. is so big. I think you're going to have regional pockets that probably get squeezed a lot more than others. But I don't think it's going to be like a national crisis like it is in many of the countries we're seeing in Europe right now.
Okay, so I know that agricultural traders pay attention to El Nino, La Nina,
right?
And we're having, it looks like they're forecasting another La Nina year, which usually means I don't know what it means in the winter. In the summer, it usually means drought conditions in the bread basket, a lot of grain.
Yeah, it's
traders.
supposed to bring colder conditions. In fact, it's already affecting China right now. They sort of got their winter 2 weeks early.
Okay. China's involvement in this bull market, what is it?
So,
Besides, go ahead.
China is really interesting because they're also having their own energy crisis. And usually they usually are buying and storing when everybody else is using.
Yeah.
And actually this fall, we've actually seen them draw down, which is
Okay.
very highly unusual for them. So that means they're having their own energy crunch. And then just yesterday, they upped their quotas for their teapots. So they're going to be importing about 88 million barrels by the end of the year. So that's very bullish in general for crude oil, obviously.
Okay. So where do they buy? I know they go to world markets, but any country that's not friendly to the US, China makes friends with. So do they have a lot of are they keeping Iran going by buying Iranian oil, and does that kind of go ahead?
Yeah, well, they buy Iranian oil on the gray market, right?
Okay, there's a gray market.
And then they buy
Like
from
my hair.
Venezuela as well, but they don't admit they're buying from Venezuela. It
Yeah.
actually goes to Malaysia first, and then they buy it as bitumen, but it's really Venezuelan oil.
Okay. All right. So China coming in and their needs, they've stockpiled almost every commodity over the last couple of years. Grains, was oil one that they didn't really go heavily into stockpiling, and that's why they have to go back out there and have this type of demand on the world market.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've, anything else in the energy patch that you want to talk about that we should go ahead.
Actually, everybody's talking about uranium.
Oh yeah.
So I actually jumped on a uranium trade. I'm long UROY, UROY. What's interesting is we've seen in Germany, they just decided to keep nuclear plants online longer after all. France is pushing really hard to classify nuclear power green and sustainable for the rest of Europe. The UK just funded a new huge power station. Ursula, president of the EU Commission, just addressed this issue, and she said they needed to include nuclear, which was brand new. And
well, it's clean. It's clean. Doesn't have much of a carbon footprint, does it?
Yeah, I mean the argument in Europe, and this is why the environmentalists hate it.
Is this the right issue, Trace, that you just bought?
You Roy, no. UROY. UROY.
Oh, why? All right.
Oh, why?
All right, let me try. All right.
So the reason that they don't like it in the EU is because they're worried about the environmental impacts of the waste, the radioactive waste, right? So that's generally their that's their argument.
Wow.
So that's it.
Yeah, I know. I've interviewed guys over the last couple of years that were really, talking about uranium being embryonic.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be very, very careful with it. I mean, we've been burned. I kind of got in on that dip in early October, where it kind of was making that flag, right?
Yeah.
So I got in about there, but I definitely think the trade has room to run. So, I think it's viable on some pullbacks.
Okay. Interesting that you're, I appreciate you filling us in on that. I know you're also, I should set up a menu, and I know you're a gold bull too, and that this is your stock, right?
Yes, miners are so lagging, they're terrible. So yes, GFI is my miner, and I'm hanging in.
And any reason why, most of their mines are in South Africa? Any reason why you went with a miner that has, political? They all have political risk. But any reason why South African? You went with a South African?
Just because there's a lot of interest there.
it's a liquid stock and
Exactly. So yes,
okay.
that's my lagging miner.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'd buy a pullback under 9 now. I think it finally, I know what you're talking about with the miners that
Like it's
they
trying to
were
break out
lagging
there.
bullion. Yeah, they've been lagging bullion dramatically and bullion's down, but this may have been the low. So still positive on gold, and does that carry through
So
to
well, gold's really interesting right now. I mean, I have it at daily resistance. So, I mean, in order for it to, I mean, gold's kind of broken, right? I mean, it's a trading instrument. I think it's broken. Um, so for me right now, I mean, to get in an actual gold trade,
yeah,
I would have to see a break above the high today, like
okay.
a solid break. I want a close above.
I I heard a guy say on CNBC, commodities analysts, that they were talking about how gold hasn't, with all the inflation news, really performed that well, and you say it's broken, and his case was that gold is more about debasement, and oil is a better inflation hedge.
Yeah, definitely. Oil is definitely a better inflation hedge. It has been for,
Ever?
the last year or so. So,
Yeah. Okay. So I know that you used to have a view on the dollar. I'm wondering what you're thinking here with the dollar.
dollar, I
Yeah,
mean, we're still, kind of in that, we're kind of range bound right now, right? I
yeah,
mean, we have been since July.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. This
so
little area
I
here.
know they probably don't want, I mean, that could be a double bottom there. I don't
Yeah,
know, but I don't think they really need or want the dollar to get that high. I mean, maybe 95,
six.
96.
Okay. All right. Okay. And anything new at your company that you'd like to announce on the research that you're doing or the format or
Nothing new. We got a new website, but
oh, you do? Okay, let's take a look at it. Here we go. So here's Tracy's new website for hedge fund telemetry. Wow, nice. Okay. And here's the button to push to subscribe. And uh, your uh, your partners, you mainly cover natural resources, and your partners cover other things. Thomas
yeah,
Thornton.
exactly. I cover materials and energy.
Okay. Hedge fund telemetry. Okay, so it's also a fund. And are you providing research or looking for retail traders, or is it mainly
Yep,
institutional?
absolutely. We have retail traders and institutional in institutions. So there's
Okay,
something for everybody.
okay. So, this could be, besides Twitter, I know a lot of people follow Tracy on Twitter. This could be an even better resource, because this is when she's really, she tweets about everything. But this, if you want to specifically look at what she's uh, saying about oil at any particular time or any of the other commodity markets that she covers, this would be the way to do it, right, Trace?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, anything you want to wrap it with, market wise, stocks, going into the fall, we had the little 5% pullback, and here we are. S&Ps have made new
Yeah,
highs.
I know,
Any
crazy. Well,
view?
I mean, seasonally, this is kind of the melt up season, right?
Right, it is.
We'll have to see coming in November. We've got a lot of things going on in DC right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
the deal
watch
and the
about spending packages, things like that. I mean, I'm
yeah.
paying obviously very close attention to an infrastructure package, because that would be obviously very bullish for the materials sector.
Okay. And what about, do you think that we'll get through the debt ceiling limit that they just postponed for a couple of months in early December? And
I feel like it's like drama every
yeah,
time, but
yeah.
I mean, they're not going to let the US default. It's just, they're not going to.
Okay. And I wanted to wrap it with, since you live up there, you have any view on the Canadian dollar?
I mean, the Canadian dollar is obviously, it's a commodity currency, it's an oil currency. So, hasn't really done a ton.
Yeah.
um,
Looks
but
like, we're putting in a higher low here at 61.8. And if crude corrects, you think there's a chance for 130 on
yeah, I
USD CAD?
mean, yeah, possible. I mean,
Just a recovery. Okay. So are you happy with Justin Trudeau being reelected? I know you
no,
don't talk. Okay.
no.
All right. And we're actually getting commercials here in the US saying not to go the same way Canada went with prescription drugs.
Wow.
Ever have a problem getting any kind of prescriptions filled up there?
They're out of stuff a lot, but
Okay.
it's like national health care, right?
The
So
stores are starting to, the supply chain thing is starting to put pressure on everything, including groceries now. Have you noticed that in Canada that,
that's
some of your items that are your favorites aren't there anymore?
I mean, I noticed it. Actually, we had a problem probably earlier this year, and it's
Mhm.
getting a little bit better here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, Tracy, like always, I always enjoy talking to you. Thanks for your ideas. What should we be looking for going into year end? Pay attention to weather mainly.
Yeah, I mean, pay attention to weather. Look for this infrastructure bill, because if
Okay.
that passes, companies like XCLF, CAT, will probably get nice boosts.
Okay.
Oil, obviously.
And we could talk about your new foray into a different commodity class. And um, I hope the trade works so well you're glowing, not from the radiation, but from the profits.
Let's see. If it's a
Uh,
tricky trade, I'm not gonna lie.
all right. Thanks so much, my trading warrior sister, for hanging out and sharing your ideas with us. And always appreciate your giving spirit for, I know it wasn't easy to become good at what you do. So appreciate you giving it away to our community today, Trace.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure.
All right, there, Tracy at Shy Girl, everyone thank her. And here's someone that was bullish oil before it became popular. And she did one of the things that's the hardest thing to do, and that's to flip. And, having been a long-term bear, it's not easy once you have that paradigm to turn around and end up catching a big wave. So congratulations on that, Trace.
Well, thank you.
All right, so that's a wrap, everyone. Turnaround Tuesday. Good luck today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Get here early tomorrow because we have a new addition to our team that we're going to introduce you to, and you could see the guys on the Morning Edge in 25 minutes. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Everyone have a great day, and adios, and thank you, Tracy, one more time. Adios.